Good day, everyone. I am researcher Clarissa Clarilla Bastida, and this is my co-researcher Christine Jewel Buitre, Mark Anthony Pagkalinawan, and Catherine Jameson. Our capstone title is O-Shape, an automated inventory management system for customized dropshipping transaction. E-commerce has become a modern way of transaction as technology development, especially during the trying times of COVID-19. And although the market is relatively new, the market is gaining a steady momentum because it is done using internet and mobile computing technologies that allows ease, mobility, and flexibility to the business. Through this emerging market, another kind of business model bloomed that provides much more flexible way of doing business. Dropshipping business model in which the client and the supplier do their transaction to a middleman called dropshipper. This model became advantageous because supplier doesn't need to mobilize extra funds for product advertisement, and the dropshipper doesn't have to spend as much capital to start a business since they just act as a middleman. However, there are problems that persist on this kind of model. One is that there are only a few technologies that cater to this kind of business model. Overlook provides such service. However, the problem is that its supply chain mechanism is directly connected to their trusted supplier. That takes away the freedom of the dropshipper to have a supplier of their choosing. Another thing is that there are problems with the inventory optimization in this kind of model that causes backlogs due to the fact most of the supplier doesn't have a direct way of automizing some of its processes. Therefore, the researcher aimed to develop a dropshipping application that would solve both the inventory optimization of the model with a customizable supply chain that could cater to the needs of the dropshipper.
For the specific objectives, the researchers aim to fulfill the following to complete the study. One is to make sure that the application can fulfill CRUD for the following entities: admin, client, and products. Another objective is to make sure that the application can perform the following modules: choosing product, listing of products, recording of sales, automated receipts, and status of order. The researchers also must make sure that the application is able to customize the supply chain of dropshipping for the users and that the application is effective, efficient, well designed, and is very useful. The study will focus on developing an automated inventory for dropshipping application with a customizable supply chain and will not include marketing. The study will only involve the processes that will allow the researchers to test the objectives of the study, such as choosing products, listing of products, recording of sales, automated receipts, and status of order. The developed application will not automate its tracking system and payment method. The location tracking will also not be included. The study will only include Cass clothing line customers around the Metro Manila. The study hopes that the developed application would help the manufacturers interact more easily to their suppliers and for the suppliers to have a better flexibility in their inventory handling and help the customers transact more easily in this kind of market.
The study aims to improve the efficiency of KAS clothing line inventory management by incorporating an inventory management system to allow the supplier and the seller to track their sales and facilitate communication between the supplier and the seller, and communication between the seller and the consumer. To do this, the proposed software would incorporate the following technologies to the application. Inventory management software is a computer-based system used to keep track of inventory levels, orders, sales, and deliveries, and chatbots to allow a natural language conversation with the user via messaging apps, website, mobile apps, or the telephone via AI. And this will be done using the tech stack HTML and CSS, SAMP, and PHP for the database. The study will also be following Hollarder's dropshipping model, wherein it involved three entities: the customer, supplier, and the store. The exchange happened between the supplier, However, the store acts as a middleman between the supplier and customers, and the transaction goes through all the store all the time. The software aims to build an application that will make the transaction from end to end much easier, more efficient, and effective.
Here is our conceptual framework. To do this, the researchers will first gather the necessary ideas about dropshipping, e-commerce, its trends, and the things that make people like it through books, papers, blogs, and other materials that could serve as our reference. Also, we would have to consider technology stacks that we will be implementing, such as HTML, CSS, PHP, SQL, JavaScript, and the hardware requirements in the process of development. After we inferred all of the requirements for developing a dropshipping application, we would proceed with its development, which we will go side by side its testing. And if the application is deemed ready for deployment, we will deploy it for implementation.
So this is our prototype. First, the user need to make an account and select their roles such as supplier, seller, and buyer. After creating an account, the user can now log in with their credential. Just in case the user forgot their password, they can use an existing email and the verification code will be sent to their account. This is the seller page. In the menu bar, we have here a dashboard, products, orders, supplier, transaction, shop, and settings. And in the main page, it displays the number of favorites, orders, and sales. And on the sidebar, it has a chatbot and progress bar, whereas it displays the total sales, delivered, and canceled. In the product page, the seller can view, edit the markup price, but the order details will not be editable. The seller can also remove the product and place an order manually if their buyer doesn't know how to order through the system. In the seller part, the seller can remove the product they added and confirm the order they placed. In the order page, the seller can view and search orders from a specific page, while in the supplier page, the seller can view this list of supplier and enter to the room to view the supplier product and add it as their own product. The seller can confirm the adding of the product by the supplier as their product too and place a markup price. They can also view the transaction history and the payment status of their order. On the shop page, the seller can edit their shop details profile and they can also see the rating of their shop. In the settings, the seller can configure their own profile, save, and afterwards they will receive a confirmation about it. This is the supplier page. In the supplier page, the supplier can view their dashboard, whereas the supplier can keep the track on total sales, delivered, and canceled items. In the product page, the supplier can add, search, and edit their product. The supplier can continue to edit their product in detail and save it to their room. In this page, the supplier can view the sold out and unlisted products. The supplier can also view all the orders, processing orders, and they can move it to process once the order is completed. The supplier can move the order form from processing tab to process tab. From the process tab, the supplier can move the order to shipment. A confirmation will pop up regarding to the details of the order and confirming to move the order to shipment. The supplier will be able to view all orders to ship and move it to shipping once it's ready to ship. Once the shipping of the order was successfully, the order will automatically move to completed tab. The supplier could also be able to view return refund that contains the return refund of the order. In this part, the supplier can view the transaction history and the payment status of the orders. In this page, the supplier can edit the details of their shop and as well as they can view the ratings. In the settings, the supplier can configure their own profile, save, and afterwards they will receive a confirmation about it.
In the buyer page, the buyer can view the top products, chat with the seller, and see their order progress such as total orders, item received and returned. The buyer can also see the list of sellers they can interact with and enter to their room to check their product. In this part, the buyer can select a specific product and add it to their cart. Once placing the order was successful, the buyer will receive a confirmation. They can also view their cart and will be given an option to remove the product that they added on their cart. Once the removing of the product on their cart was successful, the buyer will receive a confirmation for it. They can also view their like products to easily add it to their cart. In this page, the buyer can be able to view the status of their order. Once it's received, the buyer can manually confirm that the order is received, and they can also leave a rating to the product. In this part, the buyer can edit the details of their account. Once done, they can save it and they will receive a confirmation about it.